So much spoken about before the game, especially when we come to the crunch game, the game that really means overstepping teams into that top four, the game that really means making that progress worth it. You know, we've done really well up until now. Disappointing 2-2 draw today, especially from a winning position, especially in the last dying minutes of the game. Yes, we had 10 men, both fullbacks injured, so a lot of, you know, you can look at it as unlucky, but maybe some of the changes Solskjaer made, I don't know what you think. Some people criticising that. Didn't take our chances, maybe to make it 3-1. Some people criticising that. Loads to talk about. So from where do you want to start with why we didn't get the win today?
I think if we're honest with ourselves, I think a lot of players had an off game today. I mean, if it's one or two players, I think you can kind of get by, but I think there was too many players today who were below par, below average, and I think we did look a bit leggy. I think we didn't get off to the best start, a bit like against Villa as well. But like I keep saying, like I didn't feel like we weren't going to get back in the game, and I'm liking that about this team. The fact that we scored 2 goals in a short spell of time, and we showed that resilience to come back. But I just feel like, I don't know, I felt like we looked tired today. And like I say, I think we just had too many players who just weren't up to scratch today. And whether that's because of the pressure, Southampton obviously have got no pressure on the shoulders. They're winning as the underdogs today, haven't got a lot to play for. Whereas we went into that game with a lot of pressure. And I think that we kind of bottled it under the pressure, if I'm honest.
A lot of people have been saying that about, you know, bottle job FC, bottle job mentality. This is, you know, the old guards creeping back in. I mean, again, though, I want to touch on that. Another poor start. You know, against Villa, we had a poor start. And we were lucky not to be one down. Pogba made a mistake in that game. It led to Trezeguet getting a shot. He hit the post. He done the same again today, holding onto the ball too long, put us on the back foot. And we just didn't have an answer for Southampton early on. How much of a concern is that we're not starting games quick enough? It was great to get back into it. Martial, brilliant. Goal and assist, fantastic, superb. We'll get to that point. But in terms of the bad starts, how concerning is that?
It's a massive concern, isn't it? And I think what worries me now is mentally, how is this result going to affect us? Because we've been on this flying run. Yes, we're still unbeaten, but this feels like a loss today. Obviously, we're playing against Palace in a few days as well. We've had a few injuries today, and I always said that I felt like we were going to get top 4, but it was reliant on injuries. And I think today was another example where you're looking at the bench and you know what he can bring on, and we're lacking quality off the bench. We're lacking the kind of players that we need to see a job through. And we were down to 10 men today as well, just for the last little bit, but we didn't have that long to hang on, did we? In the grand scheme, I think we should have been hanging on there. We should have been
hang on. I mean, people, you're right there in terms of, you know, that lack of quality coming off the bench. Pogba and Bruno weren't at it. I completely agree with you in terms of a lot of players not at it. But all you've got to do is dig in. I think Nuruddin said it in terms of the fighting mentality. Yeah. Who's going to drag us through the mud? Just see it out. And we just lacked it. We just almost the last kick of the game, we just switched off.
I don't know about you, but I felt it coming all game. I even said it like yesterday. I said that I had a horrible feeling about this one. Southampton, they've got some big results against some of the top teams already this season. Danny Ings scoring for fun. They're quite physical as well. And I always say that I feel vulnerabilities at the back in terms of Lindelof and the physical presence. Lindelof, I thought, had a decent game today.
He did have a good game, I thought, yeah.
But that defending, I'm sorry, is inexcusable for that corner. Maguire's marking Wan-Bissaka. Lindelof's the wrong side of his player. Like De Gea could come out as well, probably, and punched it. I think that there was more than one error there. You can't point it on one player. But one thing I will say is, you're looking at the games that we've still got to come. I'm just hoping that mentally we bounce back from this. I still do believe that we are going to get top 4. I'm not saying this is a write-off. I'm not saying Ollie out, and I'm not getting on players back. So I think it was one of them today where a bit of bad luck, we simply weren't at it, and whether that is because of the mentality and the pressure. I think Pogba and Bruno going off changed the game massively as well. Like you said, Pogba didn't play very well today, but you know he's always got that bit of magic in him, and he was still involved in both the goals, I believe, as well. So that shows that a player isn't fully at it. He's still contributing. Fernandes for me is the main one. I think whenever we take him off, it seems to be that we drop massively. And I think he has a big presence in the team. Yes, he probably was a bit tired, but for me, he's the big link. He links our attack and our defence together. And when he went off, we missed that completely.
Yeah, we did. Look, the way I look at it, and I'm still taking it in now, I kind of feel like I've been at the game.
I feel sick. It's sicking me, this result, honestly.
It is. And when I say I feel like I've been at the game, in terms of we come straight out, and we go kind of straight into it. And even though I can see my TV in the corner of my eye, I still haven't taken in what's gone on, rewatch things, listen to the commentary back. So it's still quite raw, but I see a little bit of unluckiness. I see a little bit of bad decision making. And like you said, players not at it. And am I worried mentality-wise? it makes you think. You can't just disregard it. But I also don't want to get too ahead of myself in terms of this means we're crap. Oh, see, 5 games, it was nothing. Because there has been loads of encouraging signs. Even in that game, to go 1-0 down very early and go bang, bang, and get yourself back in front, that kind of buys into the notion that we are making progress. So I think you're right there. Not specifically, obviously, just on Ollie out and all that, but it shouldn't be that. That shouldn't be the topic of conversation, you know. Just be as well as we was doing well in those games. You can't just have a blip like that and this is why he needs to go and all that crap. But look, Mason Greenwood had a difficult game today against a different type of fullback. You know, Bertrand, Champions League winner, experienced player, wants to push his opposite number back, and he did that. He forced Mason back a lot. Maybe wasn't the game for him, and does that maybe show just, you know, he's young. You've got to keep being patient. He's not going to be able to turn it on every game.
Of course he's not. And I think Southampton deserve credit for how they defended. I think they created obviously the central area so he couldn't play through the lines like we'd like to do to Bruno. And I think that as a team, we didn't get from back to front quick enough. There's too many sideways passes, and Southampton were loving that. And we saw that what they did with Pogba, they wanted to nick it high up the pitch. And we played into their hands. We were doing that. For me, we needed to miss out the midfield and try and go straight for maybe Martial. We saw his strength when he was holding the ball up for Rashford's goal. I just think that we needed to miss out the midfield. Southampton's plan was to congest the midfield, don't let Bruno and Pogba and Matic have it, because you know they're the danger players when they get on the ball. And it worked. And I just think it wasn't Greenwood's game today. And most stuff came down the left-hand side. I thought Shaw played well. I'm going to mention Rashford again. And people seem to think I love Rashford. I do like Rashford, but I thought he played well today. Again,
played well today, though, man.
More progress. He
played well.
He did. He did play well. And obviously had another goal disallowed as well. People will forget about that. But like I say, he's getting into positions. I thought Luke Shaw overlapping did well. I'm hoping that his injury isn't too serious, because that'll be gutting for him yet again, another setback in his career. But yeah, I think look at the positives. Greenwood just wasn't his game today. Do not get on his back too soon about it. And I just want to say Martial, I thought, was fantastic again today. The last game he was fantastic, but yet again today, I think he didn't have a lot to feed on, but when he did get the ball, I think he was a constant threat. And I'm loving this desire to get the ball back. How many times do you see him try and nick the ball back from their holding midfielder? And yeah, I think Martial deserves credit. But like I say, I want to focus on the positives. I'm just hoping that mentally we can bounce back from this setback. But no, I don't know about you, but I just want to get that Palace game out of the way sooner rather than later. I just want to get straight into it, because the way I'm feeling after this one, I feel sick, and I feel like we can't ponder on this too long. I feel like we need to move on to the next game now. We said take one game at a time. That's done. We can't linger on that anymore. And it could turn out to be a big point at the end of the season. Who knows? Yeah,
exactly. It does. It does make you a bit nervy. I'm not going to lie. You know, Palace have lost like consecutive games. Have been awful. Gave Chelsea a run for their money, mind you. It's always a weird game going there. You're just never quite sure what Palace is going to turn up, and they can hurt you. But I think you're right there. It'll be a real test. I mean, this was a test here to see how we could come through it. 2-1 down, 2-1 up, not playing very well. Can you just see it out? What's the mentality like? And that's been knocked. And this Palace game now will really show us what these boys are made of, because they've got to raise that tempo again. They've got to gather momentum quick. There's no time to feel sorry for yourself.
Of course, it can go two ways. We can feel sorry for ourselves and drop more points, or we can bounce back from it and let that be the wake-up call. Let that be the reality check that we may be needed, because everyone's saying, 18 games unbeaten now. Everybody's saying that we've turned a corner. And we obviously haven't yet. We know that there's still more work to be done. And I think it could maybe be the reality check that we would have needed for the last run of the season. I'm hoping that's the way that it'll go. But like I say, I want to focus on the positives. It's quite easy to be downbeat, but we haven't lost. We could have quite easily lost that game. We haven't. And like I say, hopefully that'll be a vital point come the end of the season.
100%. So I'll see you Thursday night.
Yeah, take care, Flex. Cheers.
Take care. See you later.
See ya.